Hello, He-Man fans. This is Johnny Manuel, aka Johnny Blues, your friendly neighborhood musician, artist, slash wannabe toy collector. Hey, you're no wannabe if you're just gonna be. And that's from Johnny B, aka Johnny Blues. What we have here is Ram Man cartoon collections from the Origins lines. We're gonna open them up. I already made a quick reveal on his co-wavester Shira from Origins. We're gonna open this baby up and compare him to another Ram Man figure that we got on the lot right now. All right. So he was a lot more easier to get out of the box or get out of the card. Something about maybe because it's a man figure compared to a woman figure. Just it comes at an awkward angle sometimes. They come in the same wave, so I'm missing Mantena. Should I get him? They come in the same wave. And I'm guessing that because they come in the same wave, they have the same comic book. And Ram Man, old Rammy here, comes with Shakari idol, coming from the House of Shakari episode. Again, the cartoon collections are based off, like not rough, but a fair estimate of what they should look like in toy form. More animated, perhaps. I do remember how they're drawn. They're not very anime, but this is more appealing, I guess. It's quite different from the Ram Man that I remember from the vintage 80s. The old Ram Man used to go up and down. The two legs are connected, and it's a spring action. Most 80s toy lines are built on some kind of a power gimmick, I suppose. Remember the He-Mans? They had the power punch twisty thing. Eventually they would snap. They were not made to last forever. I remember my poor He-Mans so dearly. Okay, now compared to the old toys, I really like the modern takes, the modern articulation. Not exactly Masterverse. They don't have the ab crunch. They don't have certain things, but I still enjoy Origins for what it is. I suppose you can take this off. Yeah. Head articulation, left and right, side to side a little bit, and it's just hindered by his helmet. His spear and magic helmet. Okay, and then this you can. I don't remember how articulated the old one was, but it's fun to be able to do this. He's like a mini Juggernaut. Okay. In fact, I got a Juggernaut somewhere. I'm gonna bring him out for comparison. There might be a slight influence there. Maybe it would be fun to customize it because, even though it's nice and shiny, the armor and the helmet, I think it would improve if you put a little dark wash on it. I'm sure somebody has tried it. Okay. Let's check the arms compared to somebody like He-Man here. They appear to be similar. It'd be interesting to have He-Man wear the helmet. It actually doesn't come off. It doesn't. They don't have the same torso. It'd be fun to see if what He-Man looks like with springy legs. Okay, I suppose you could exchange the arms, and that's about it. Okay, it would be very strange to see him exchange parts. Not much in the way of accessories, not unlike the Ram Man of Masterverse, which I happen to have here. Okay, not much detail like Masterverse. It's interesting because in retail it's just a difference of $7 sometimes. This is considered a deluxe figure though, and it's great that they didn't make him into a midget size, like comparing to the regular size He-Man. The Ram Man is kind of small, especially when he's compressed. You have to push him down in order to get the spring loaded. They made Ram Man bigger in the 2002 animated series. I really enjoyed that storyline. A little bit more mature, anime influence, sure, but it is what it is. I'm never, I can't imagine people not liking it completely. 2000X, which they also have the 2000X Ram Man, and I'm aiming to collect that maybe next week. Okay, comparison time to other figures. Let me go get the Mighty Juggernaut. That's a hood, ain't it? They're like all Ram Mans, different levels. You got Mama, you got Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and little baby Ram Man. It's interesting because they don't they might be a little similar, but they're really not. If you follow the stats of freaking Juggernaut, he's the unstoppable force, gaining his power from the Sidorak gem. While Ram Man's powers are not mystical, he's just a force of nature. Very different. I would say He-Man is more of a match, more than a match for Juggernaut. That's something that we haven't, we can't see. It's we probably won't be able to see, not unless somebody writes about it. Now, if somebody already made that story, please leave a comment. Let me know if He-Man and Juggernaut ever faced each other. I know that He-Man faced off with Superman. That didn't go too well for Superman. Superman was actually pretty scared he might die. At least that's what it said on the cover. Now you gotta have to read the story to check it out for yourself. Obviously, out of all the figures, Ram Man here can really looks cartoony. Not to say that he looks ridiculous. It's a great figure. Masterverse is more directed towards the attention to detail. Different, obviously more points of articulation. And Juggernaut is not in the same line. In fact, it's considered to be part of a 1/12 scale, which is this, if a regular person is 6 inches high, this would be a translation of Juggernaut, the mighty Juggernaut. I don't think Ram Man would last long against Juggernaut, but what do you think? All right, maybe his powers are mystical. I don't know. They don't show that. They don't explain much about it. It would be great to know what Ram Man's power set is, because it really must depend who's writing the story. It's different when it's He Man because he can't fly. By like Superman, but he's still pretty powerful. Power is not a matter of the number of powers. He's really strong, and his strength is measured. It's not musculature. The it's more the mystical. It's the magic, and it's the power. It's the magic that gives He-Man the power. At least that's what I would like to think. But yep. Ram Man here has an extra head, a couple extra heads actually, and extra piece of armor, and then a battle axe. But he is not depicted as a dwarf. Okay, I think He-Man and Ram Man, at least on the Origins line, are relatively comparative, and their heights are pretty similar, but I think in the cartoon he's much shorter. So it's not up to scale, but I like it anyway. In order to improve this, you could put a little bit of dark wash on it. Put a little bit more, not to make it look exactly like Masterverse Ram Man, but it'll add a little bit of detail. Or you can just leave him like this. It's up to you. Once you buy it, it's your property, and you can do it with it whatever however you please. Anyways, that is it for Ram Man. Unlike He-Man, Ram Man cannot fit into the. I don't think he can fit into the Wind Raider and the Sky Sled here. But he has springy legs anyway. The joints are very different from how it's translated with the Ram Man for Masterverse. Masterverse has a level of coils on top of his own legs. I guess his legs might be, just regular legs, almost regular legs for a Masterverse figure, and then they just covered it up so that it looks like they're springs instead of legs. With the Ram Man on Origins, that's his actual legs. And you can bend it. It's a little stiff. You might want to heat that up before moving it. That's what we do with our collectibles. You have to be good stewards. All right. Well, I really like the look. He's got, he's not really very smart as depicted in the cartoons, but I like his personality. He's a go-getter. He's very determined. That's what he looks like. And in the comic book, He-Man and Ram Man actually got into a fight, and Ram Man actually gave He-Man a run for his money. That's how I remember it. I don't remember how the rest of it goes, but they eventually become friends, and that's what it's all about. Right, Bo? Okay. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. I gotta have better scripts for this thing, huh? But at least I got better lighting this time. I hope you guys can appreciate that. Journeyman out. Bye-bye.